The other day on my Instagram, I went ahead and posted a question poll asking anybody to ask any questions they have about selling on Amazon, any beginner questions, advanced questions. And I did get a good amount of questions here. So I'm going to go ahead and film this quick video going over each question. There's probably some questions in here that you might be asking yourself, whether you're a beginner Amazon seller or an experienced Amazon seller. I haven't even looked through any of these, but I'm going to address pretty much all of them. And hopefully it clears some answers you might have up about selling on Amazon. So first question is, can you cover taxes for Amazon FBA? No, I cannot cover taxes for Amazon FBA. I'm not a tax expert by any means. I just give my stuff to CPA. So what I can recommend is for you to get seller board, put all of your expenses, all of your product purchases on just 1 or 2 cards, and don't spend anything else on those. That way at the end of the year, you can just pull the statements and all the spend is just going to be for your Amazon business. Don't be mixing anything personal with your business spend. That'll be the easiest way to handle taxes, and then use seller board to kind of give you like that profit range to at least help put you on the right track of what you're looking for. If you are going to be putting your spend on cards, make sure you're only using specific cards for Amazon. Don't commingle anything. That's the most important thing. How to send in dangerous goods after being enrolled into the dangerous goods program. So it's pretty simple. It's the exact same process as sending any other product into Amazon using SPD or LTL, except you're not going to be able to use Amazon partnered carrier in this case. So you're going to have to purchase your own labels. Now, for me, whenever we send anything in that's Hazmat, all I do is I go to Pirate Ship. I use, Amazon tells you where it needs to go. You just can't use their partnered carrier. So I'll just buy it through Pirate Ship, throw your own label on, and send it in. It's the exact same process. You just can't use their label. So it's going to be more expensive. You're generally going to be paying 3 to 4 times more to ship non-partner, which is very expensive, but you typically are going to have higher margins on those Hazmat products compared to FBM sellers. So you should be able to squeeze in the profits there, especially if the product's lighter. I've noticed that usually works a lot better for Hazmat. Next question, how to print label, send it to Amazon yourself instead of Prep Center. Again, this is just a basic send to Amazon workflow. Just highlight the products that you're sending in. Let's say you have 5 products you want to send in. You make sure you add them to your catalog. You just select them on the Manage All Inventory tab, hit the little drop down, press Send/Replenish, and then just go through the standard Send to Amazon workflow. You put in how many units you're sending in. You print off the SKU labels. You prep your products, put the labels on, and then you go ahead and just go through that whole workflow. It'll take you to the end page where you put in the size of the box, the weight of the box, and then they're going to give you the labels for the box. And you just send them in. That's the process to that. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's like a million videos on everywhere kind of walking you through it. How to tell if a product came from OA or wholesale. So I'm assuming you're talking about when you're sourcing, how do you just automatically eliminate if it's an OA product or a wholesale product? Now, obviously in the beginning, you kind of pick up an eye for products as an Amazon seller, especially as you gain experience. But in the beginning, I think the best things to look out for is how many sellers are on the product, or not even necessarily how many sellers are currently on the product, but maybe check back at the product's data, check Keepa within the last couple years and see if there was ever a time where there was a lot of sellers on the product. If there's ever a space there when there's just a bunch of sellers and maybe now it's kind of dwindled off a bit, there's a good chance that at least at that time that product was an OA product, and maybe now it's been able to recover, less competition, it's not really on the radar, but you can still go in there and capture some sales and some profit because there's less competition. That is probably the number one telltale if it was an OA product or still is an OA product. But as you, again, gain experience and you see products all the time when sourcing, you'll just know, like, for example, pretty much all candies, like big name brand candies, Tootsie, that kind of stuff is always coming from wholesale for the most part. That's a grocery side. The best thing to tell is okay, how many sellers are on there? If there's a lot of sellers on there, it's probably OA. If there is less than 7-8 sellers, it's probably more so wholesale, or you found a really good OA lead. But again, check back at the past history of it. That'll be the best way to kind of gauge that. Step by step on how to submit your first order in Amazon Seller, please. I'm not sure what you mean by this question. Step by step on how to submit your first order. You get your products, you purchase something profitably that you sell it and keep it to make sure it's profitable, make sure it checks sell in terms of the analysis. You send the product into FBA, and then you price competitively when it becomes available. And then people will buy your product as long as you made a good decision, as long as you check to make sure it's selling and that you're going to be getting rotation and you're profitable at the buy price. So products sell, you don't have to do anything about that. It's just sourcing the inventory. That's the only task you need. What sites to buy in bulk / wholesale? Do you have to have a wholesale license? You don't need, so you need a business. If you're purchasing from a legit supplier, not some Telegram group, you're going to need professional business. You're going to need some sort of resale certificates. Some states it's like a vendor's license, resale certificate, tax exemption, whatever it is in your state. It's completely different depending on that. And they're going to request that every single time if you're going to a legit source. So yes, you do need those. Now, where do you find them? I always recommend to go local. Always go local. Maybe look grocery distributors near me, or if you're in an area where there isn't much going on in the middle of the country, maybe look around the outside of the country, depending on where you're at. So if you're closer to California, look up grocery distributors in California or in Texas or in New York. Those are good areas. Now, hopefully you're local there or at least somewhat close, because those are usually the spots that are going to be giving you the best rates. In terms of finding them, it's I don't want to say it's a numbers game, because it is and it isn't at the same time, but always try and go local because of freight. And there's going to be, these stores in your area are purchasing from suppliers that are local. They're not buying from across the country. So there's no reason why you can't also be capturing accounts with these suppliers. And as long as you're professional and you come in and you know what you want, they're going to work with you. They're not going to care that you're an Amazon seller. Just don't start the conversation as you're an Amazon seller, because then chances are they're just going to assume you're not professional and probably not put in the time required to kind of get you going with that. So that's my best recommendation for that. How to get brand approval, very easy. Order 10 units of the product that you're looking to get approval for, submit that invoice, and then you're going to be approved for the brand or the category. What websites supply invoices? Well, you might have to test it out a bit. This is always changing, but at the exact moment right now, Target works, Home Depot works, Webstaurant works. There's some other spots that work. Kohl's is a hit or miss. I don't like to say it works or not. I don't like to say any of these work or not, because it is always changing, and what works for me and what works for someone else might not work for you. So it's a lot of experimentation and trying everything. I recommend, if you found a product profitably, order it, ask for an invoice, upload whatever they give you or the order confirmation, and hopefully it works. If it doesn't work, then try and take an alternate route, like going to Target, buying 10 units of something very cheap from there. That's the same brand, and then use that to ungate the brand, and you should be good to go. And then just sell it at a loss, sell it at break even, or return the product if you really want to. What is your goal for the buy box? How do you achieve it? So the most important factor, the number one most important factor that gets you buy box is your shipping time. So if you're doing FBA, once you ship your product in and once it's been checked in and it's in the fulfillment center and it becomes available, you should be eligible for Prime. In that case, you should be getting next day, same day. Usually when you're in that ballpark, you're going to be getting more buy box. So let's say me and you are competing. Let's say I'm priced at $18 and you are priced at $22, but I'm back ordered, so I'm not going to be delivering to the customer until 2 weeks, whereas you're going to be delivering it the next day. Even though you're priced more than me, but you have quicker shipping times, you're going to be getting more buy box, because it just makes sense without Amazon's algorithm, right? Customers aren't going to wait 2 weeks for a product when they get it the next day. So shipping times is the most important factor, and for that, you just have to wait for your products check-in. There's nothing you can do. Then the other most important factor is going to be your price. So if me and you have the same shipping times, but your price 50 cents less than me, you're going to be taking priority buy box until you either go back ordered or until you sell out. So delivery times and then price is the most important thing. So you have to make sure when you're analyzing products before you buy, you want to make sure that you're profitable at the current buy box, like at what the actual competitive pricing is. Analysis is very important when it comes to sourcing and obviously being able to read a Keepa chart. I have a video on how to read Keepa charts. I probably have 3 actually on my YouTube page. So go through my videos and you'll find it there. I'll also link it down below. How do you know how many items will fit in a box or how many boxes you will need? Well, you don't know until you get it in fully. What I like to do, you can tell, because if you're not familiar, the biggest a box can be that you send into Amazon is 25 by 25 by 25, and it's 50 pounds. It's very hard to tell how many units are going to fit in a box based on its size, but based on its weight, SellerAmp will tell you how much about that product weighs. So if it weighs 2 pounds, well, then you know you can only fit right around 25 units inside of a box, probably less, because you don't want to be getting too close to 50, because then you might go over. So then let's just say, for example, I'm sending in a product that weighs 5 pounds. In this case, I can only send 10 units in. Each box costs about 10 to 15 bucks to ship in. So if that product is only making me $1 a sale, it's going to make no sense, because the shipping is going to eat into that profit. But if I'm making 10 bucks a sale and then in that entire box I make 100 bucks after I sell through and I pay 10 bucks to ship it, then it's not a big deal. I don't usually factor in the shipping to Amazon. So I only factor in the shipping cost to Amazon when the product is heavier If it's lighter, it's so minimal, I don't factor it into my buying decision. However, it does get factored into your profits at the end of the day, and seller board tracks all that. So you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I would just take the weight from seller board and calculate it based on that. And then you can kind of get a sense for how many can fit in a box. Is shoes, clothing a good category? Because I heard high return rates. I don't sell any shoes. I don't sell any clothing, but I know a lot of sellers that make an absolute killing doing it. Not saying if you should or not. Typically what I see is the people that are successful with it have really high margins, high ROI. And it's because they're usually going to outlets, retail stores, and they're buying it, you know, at like Nike outlets or something. Now, again, I don't really want to speak on this too much because I just don't sell it. And for me, it's never been a good product. Anytime I've ever sold any clothing and shoes, which was back when I was more so starting out, I have the super tight margins and I just didn't like it. I like to sell smaller things. I have a lower average sale price, but I do a lot of volume. I have pretty much no returns. I think my return rate's right around 1.5%. And that's just the kind of stuff I like to sell. Everyone likes to sell something different. Not saying if it's good or not, but it definitely is going to have a high return rate. So make sure you have a lot of room in there to account for that. You can't just be at a 20% ROI with these because chances are you're going to end up losing money on that product. Does Kohl's work for ungating? Just like I said before, I'm not 100% sure. It works for some people. It doesn't work for other people. So try it out. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Can you go over the softwares and how to use them? I have a couple videos on using SellerAmp and Keepa to source, so I'll link them down below again, but you can scroll through my page. I have a lot of videos on the softwares, so you can definitely check them out like that. What is the best way and smoothest way to transition from OA to wholesale? So I'd like to speak on this real quick because I did move, you know, in the beginning when I started my Amazon business, I only did OA. And then about 8 months in, I started to introduce wholesale. Now, what I mean by that is I started to reach out to suppliers, kind of learn the business a bit more, and, you know, kind of familiarize myself with what's actually required. So I think the best way to transition is to make sure your OA is very stable, make sure it's consistent, and it's actually making you your money, because you don't want to stop making money when you're transitioning to wholesale, because wholesale is a long game. It's a very long game. It's like open an account. Don't expect to be making money with that account for, I'm not saying you're not gonna make money on your first order, but getting that account opened up, going through the process, looking through the catalog, placing a large enough order to actually, you know, go in there and make money with freight if they're not giving you free shipping can take a couple weeks to just build out that order, because there's so many products to look through. You want to be looking through the catalogs manually, whether you do it or a VA does it. So it's going to take time. Just realize that. And I'd say, you know, as soon as you're good with OA and you start to buy from wholesalers, that can slowly take over your spend. So you place an order with a supplier, but you're still doing OA, place an order with the supplier again, but this time it's a bigger order, and then you're doing a little bit less OA. Then maybe you're working with another supplier that's a different niche, and then, you know, slowly it's taking over your OA side. I wouldn't let that be that, you know, I wouldn't let it completely be the case and just completely stop OA until it replaces it in full. But I like doing a hybrid model. I do both. I do a lot of OA, and I still do, you know, I still purchase from some wholesale suppliers that I've been working with for about 1.5 years now. Hybrid model is good. They're both very consistent. For wholesale, I don't really do anything anymore. They just place the same products for the most part, and I'm working with the same sales reps and the same companies. I'm not doing any active outreach, but in the beginning, when you're getting into it, that is going to be a lot of time invested into getting these accounts, getting the good accounts, and placing the orders that you can actually, you know, stay consistent with. Okay, do you stay away from products that Amazon is on, or if they share buy box? So when I'm sourcing and I'm doing storefront stocking, I avoid Amazon as a whole because chances of finding those products profitably are much less. However, if I'm buying from a supplier, or if I'm manually sourcing like a very discounted product and it's profitable, I'll be more than happy to compete with Amazon as long as they're sharing the buy box. So as long as you can tell in the Keepa chart that other sellers are also getting sales and you see them selling off, then that's completely okay with me, and I'll go in every single time to compete with them, especially if it's really profitable. So don't stray away from them completely unless you're doing like reverse sourcing. Then I don't like to look into it because, again, that's just about efficiency. But in terms of finding a profitable product that Amazon's also on, that we're profitable at Amazon's price, then I'm completely okay with competing with them. Do you need to be a registered LLC to order from wholesalers? Yes. How do you find your first product and the process of listing a product on Amazon? So the method that I do to find all my products still, and the method that I found success with really fast, was storefront stocking, reverse sourcing. Again, I have a bunch of videos on here going over that, so I'm not going to show you now. This is just a sit down, but that is how you're going to find products, and that's how you're going to find lots of products. You should be, once you're good at this, finding 10 to 20 products easily a day. Once you're good at this, you bring them all on, you list on current listings, and you just send your inventory into Amazon. price your products competitively when they check in, and you're going to sell through your products just on autopilot. So that is how you do it. How do you get sales? As everything sells, make sure you're buying stuff that's ranked well. Make sure you're buying stuff that is selling based on the offer count dropping, based on the sales rank, based on the offers. See people actually selling through their inventory. You get all those checks, you have a green light to go. The product's going to be selling as long as you're pricing competitively. I need to stress this because people price way above the buy box and they're not selling, and it's because you're not competitive. You have to be pricing competitive. Why prep labeling says the SKU for this product cannot is unknown. Okay, I'm not sure what that question is. It doesn't really make much sense. Chances are there's probably something up with the way you listed it. Maybe you listed that product and you're trying to send it in too quick. Once you list a product to your store, you have to wait about 10 to 15 minutes until it situates, and then you can send the product in. So that's probably the issue you're running into. But that's pretty much all the questions I got on my Instagram page. If you guys want to do more of these and you guys want more information, because I post on my Instagram every single day, lots of more tips and tricks to getting started, go ahead and follow me there. I'm going to link that down below. If you still haven't started selling on Amazon, but you've been looking to start for a very long time now and you don't know where to go, I have a completely free training video. It's on YouTube, but it's private. I'm going to link it below and that'll give you access to it. It's 40 minutes long. It's the full entire walkthrough of what you need to do in the beginning, how to find your first product, how to analyze that product, how to ungate that product, how to send it in, choosing whether or not to do it yourself or a prep center. Everything you need to know to get you started, that's linked below. If you are already selling on Amazon and maybe you're stuck at 5 to 10K a month and you want to get to 30, 40K, like Jesse was able to do, like Will was able to do, like Ellie and Cami are on track to do, I'm going to also throw another link under there. It's a Calendly link. Book in a call with myself. We'll have a brief chat and I want to see what your goals are with Amazon. And as long as you're looking to build something similar to what I have, which I'll go over, then I know for a fact I can help you get there. The only requirements I would have from you is that you have capital ready to invest in inventory and you have at least an hour a day to put into learning this. But if you guys have any additional questions that I didn't answer in this video, go ahead and drop them down below and I will get to all of those.